Hello, welcome everyone to this tutorial on how to build the Jungle Cruise sign. Now this is mainly for those people who have purchased the Build It Yourself kit. However, if you haven't and you're interested, check out the link down in the description below and you can purchase this sign and more. You can purchase the build kit or you can purchase it fully built. A couple different options as well. Lanterns, no lanterns, the flicker LEDs, etc. I also offer the Adventureland sign, Small World sign, a few others. So check it out. And I thank you in advance for your purchase, as my channel is not monetized and the only way I make money is from the purchase of the signs and other merch. Let's get started. We'll have two of these, two of these. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2. Two of these. There are two of those. Two of these smaller, thinner ones. Two of those. There are two small and two long spears. One border, one little mouthpiece, one little piece of his hat. I'm not even sure what this is, but backer board. I have one piece here, one of these, and then there's this one which has the curved top on it. And then we also have six of these. You also would have gotten two red, two beige, and one orange sections of nylon thread here, or rope or cord or whatever you want to call it. These will be used for the arrowheads, and this will be used for the little duck guy's hair. For the extension eye, which is a little magnetic, but there are three pieces to this: the backer, the piece in the middle here, and then the frame. And then there are two magnets, two different sizes of magnets actually. One's a little thinner than the other. So that is included if you bought that version. The electronics, you should have one of those. You also would have gotten two batteries, which go into the battery pack. You will have two LED lights. You will have some shrink tube. I believe 6 is all you need, but we'll double check that. And you will have two sets of wires. Now, if you are coloring yours and you're going to color it like I colored mine, you will need 4 markers. I get these from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. This is Art Alternatives, or there's Artist Loft. There's a few more different brands. They all are alcohol markers, and I believe they all follow the same naming convention. So as long as you get these colors, you'll be fine. So the silver is our base color. We will color that down first, and then this aquamarine will color over it, and that'll kind of give us the bluish green color that we need. I have not found one marker that will do the one color like I want, so 2 colors it is. And then this cranberry is the red we'll be using. This red is good for the eye and is also good for the accent colors on this piece. And then a regular Sharpie silver, which will only be used to color the spear, the spear heads on those. Now, you would think you could use this on it and it looks similar, but this is nowhere near as metallic as this one is. So I would still recommend the regular Sharpie. There's at least one tool you'll want to get, which is a putty knife. I wrapped tape on mine because I tend to hold it like this. But as long as you get some kind of skinny putty knife, or maybe even this one has a regular razor blade, but on this side I have a plastic razor blade. But just, something thin. One of these little, I don't even know what to call it, but it's like a poker picker. I use it for weeding stuff or for trying to get underneath these. That could be useful. Now you can see there's a lot of burn marks from the laser. Most of this is on the masking tape, but if you did happen to see it on the edges here, you might want to sand those off using some fine sandpaper. You could use sanding sticks like this, or even nail files. Those work pretty good, but just sand it lightly until you get rid of the whole burn mark. Sometimes rubbing alcohol will help get some of it off, especially if it's like really sticky. And then you will need a bottle of glue. I use Starbond, but this top comes out to a point, and they usually come with these little extensions that you put on. A thinner, controlled amount of glue that you can put on things. This is helpful, especially on smaller parts of the wood. So for this sign you technically don't need it, but it's if you're not good with the glue control, it's definitely worth having. Some super glue usually have like a accelerator or activator, whatever they want to call it, but it'll make it dry like right away. Usually it's a spray or aerosol like this, or like a regular kind of spray. But in fact, I'll be using this on the back when we glue on the electronics. So instead of holding down the wires, just spray this on the glue, and it'll harden right away and make it much easier on us. Okay, first thing that we need to do is take off the masking tape. We should do it on all the pieces just to get it out of the way. But on some of these pieces, if you're going to paint it the way I paint it, I like to leave some of this on. That way I can just color away without having to worry about getting out of the line when you're cutting, when you're coloring. So this main bottom piece here, I just pry that up enough so I can rip that. So this is nice and clean. Just rip it from the edge, and then that's fine because these pieces are going to cover this section right here. So you can see we don't need to go past that. And then you can also see this section's fine, but this section we need to rip off. But we'll leave the letters in place. So kind of the same thing here. And we'll rip that and then just come straight across all the way. And that's fine. We know that this piece will be sitting here. So anything above that will be colored. And then we'll come on this side. But we want to make sure that we don't color below, so we'll leave all that. But we do need to peel off all of this. And we'll peel off in between the letters. Be sure to grab all the little corners. Use the sticky side to grab stuff if you need to. There's actually a little tiny dot right here. And we'll get these up here as well. Okay, we'll leave all that in place. So right now, let's go ahead and, oh, and by the way, these tend to have double sides. I find this one more useful for coloring a lot at first, and this one for getting into smaller areas. So just go ahead and color. Now you can see why we leave the masking tape on those. Make a nice clean line. And that's all you gotta do. Just, you know, gotta do it all over the place. So we'll do one here. And like I said, we don't need a color like here or here. You can, it doesn't make a difference, but we don't need to because there's gonna be a piece covering there. And we know that that one piece goes across straight away. So I just wanna go slightly under there. And you can use this as a guide. Going all the way across. And then for now, I'm just gonna color as close as possible without going over, because I'll switch to the other tip. And then you'll see that this is time consuming, and then you'll know why I charge what I charge to make them every time. The top piece will come from here on over too, so I'm going to go slightly above that. We don't have to go all the way up though, but just enough to make sure we get a good coverage. And then around here we need to color as well. Again, it will have a border around it, so we don't have to color the whole thing, but this marker is a little thicker, so it tends to color it anyway. The glue will obviously absorb through that, so not a big deal. So like I said, now I will switch to the smaller tip, which especially for up here definitely helps. This tip is pretty flexible, so you don't need to push hard. It's almost like painting with a paintbrush. Now, even though we have the masking tape still on where the letters are, it could absorb underneath it, so even though the masking tape is there, it's not a free-for-all. Don't just color over everything. Still try to stay within your areas without going over. Don't color like a kindergartner. Stay within the lines. Okay, well, you get the point on that one. Go ahead and finish color everything, and we'll get back. These next parts we want to color. They continue the stripe we had at the bottom, where these go. So we want to remove this one piece. Try to leave everything else on. Pull up these. And again, we will color with the gray here. And we also have to peel the masking tape. This sometimes does get burned in the laser because it's a smaller area. So you can see this is all burned. But again, you just do it lightly. You're not trying to sand off all the wood. You know, it is only plywood. So just go lightly. I'm not using much pressure. You can see the burn marks come off pretty well. Make sure all the sanding debris is gone. And we will color this one. And that's all the coloring for the gray. We'll start back with this same piece, and now we'll go over with the teal color. There we go. Let's do these. just in case you're curious. That's the green by itself. This is the green with the gray. Now, some people might be okay with just that one, and it is very close, but I like the darker tint. It looks more like the sign does, but you know, that's just your taste. There's also other colors you can buy that are pretty close, but to me, both of those together are, you know, better. All right, so now that we finish coloring, you can go ahead and peel off all the rest of the masking tape. See a nice clean line. Now remember I said you can sand down the burn marks. However, these ones will be covered up by other pieces, so I'm not too concerned with those. Let's go ahead and peel off the letters. This is the part where I usually find out that no matter how careful I was, and even though the masking tape is there, I always find some kind of color on the letters. This line that goes across, which is supposed to be like the wood planks going across, there is a little line left on some of these masking tape, so just a little FYI, try to grab all of it that you can. And you can see, you know, some of that. That's where I was talking about how the alcohol markers kind of can absorb underneath the masking tape. And that's fine. Like I said, we just sand it off. We'll use a smaller sanding stick, or, you know, just something enough to get in there. It won't be on every letter. So try not to feel too bad if you have a bunch of color underneath, because, you know, it happens to everybody. I'm by no means a great artist here. I'm a lot better on the computer than I am coloring in real life. Just be sure to check the back as well, because sometimes there are masking tape pieces stuck on there. There's also these little letters down here. Sometimes if you use the side, you can scrape them off. Grab one of those sticky sides. Peel off all of these. Okay, So this one, we definitely have some sanding to do. Same as that. So you just, you know, put your finger right here maybe. That way you're not sanding off any of the coloring that we just did. But if you did, you can always recolor it. I like using these because you know if you're flat, because you don't want to go like this and just rub down your, or sand down your end, you know. You want to make sure you're all flat on there. Also, if you notice your stamp here getting dirty, you just turn that until you got a good spot on there. Make sure you're nice and lined up, and much better, much cleaner. Let's go ahead and finish peeling off the rest. Now you could sand some of this. These pieces are going to be on the back side, facing down like this, so we don't have to worry about sanding this side. But if you wanted to sand down that side, that's fine. But it's going to be on the back of the sign anyway, so unless you're really picky, it's not going to matter. Same thing with this piece. This will be on the back of the sign. That's pretty clean. Make sure you get his eyes there. Now this one, it will not take it all off because there's more coloring. We want to peel off this one line, which usually comes off in a couple different pieces. But we do want to leave those little X's, and we want to leave these stripes. Everywhere else, it gets colored the red. Well, this part does. This part stays white. And then we paint very carefully. That is all the red we have to color. Now you can peel up. Spears. go ahead and color the spearheads right now. I usually start on the sides and just get it right between the angle here. You can see you're just getting the tip, and that's all you gotta do. Let's go ahead and start building some things. First thing I like to start off with is this part here. Now if you're using CA or super glue like this, a little bit goes a long way. So just a little thin line. In fact, you can do drops if you wanted to, but that's about all you need. And I'm going to line this with the top line and with the side edges there. Just make sure you press and hold for a little bit. And that should be good to go. I actually just got glue on my finger. Glue on the finger, which got it right there, but nice little sand it down. It'll be fine. So you can see how that clean edge with the color there works pretty well, because we went down a little past it. Now, because we set that in place, it gives us this to align to. Just make sure we're at the edge, and this should align pretty good right here. So let's throw some glue around the edge here. Just some in the middle. So that's good. Now we're going to grab, remember we have the bigger size, we have the medium, and then we have these little ones which are part of the spheres. So we're grabbing this medium one. And just a line of glue, and we'll line that up here. So there you go. Do the other side. We have this top section. Now on this one, I'm just going to do little trips. Clean up the little glue I did here. So some of these parts here that are thinner, the drops work better. Too much would spread around. Already starting to look like a sign. Just gonna kind of center this. This doesn't have to be exact. In fact, the real sign was a little off-kiltered. So that is about it for the front right now. Let's go ahead and attach some of these back pieces. And then we put this one on top of them. Actually, this one goes here. This one goes there. So if your thing is not lining up, it's on the wrong side. But this right here will allow a nail or a screw to go down and then get in between that right there to kind of lodge it so you can hang it, you know. So let's go ahead and build the lanterns. Get this centered in a circle. Same thing as the top here. Take 3 of these. Doesn't seem to want to dry, so spray it on there. You see how these are opposite each other? When we glue them onto the sign, these tips will match, and this will be the front, so it'll be gluing on like this. What we want is this piece to go straight back. So if you angle them like this, they go straight back. We use this to put the LED light in and then bend it down, and then we glue this on top. If you didn't have the LED light, you can go ahead and glue these on right now and it wouldn't matter, but as we are doing it for this one, we will wait until the end. These little pieces will be glued on here, but we will also wait to the end to do that. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is give this guy a little beard or hair, I don't know what it actually is. Take the little rope I give you. We're going to basically keep cutting it in half. get about that size. I don't want them to be even, so if some of them are longer than another, that's even better. So we're basically gonna flip this around. Okay, so we're gonna take it and we're gonna basically just fold them in half. I'm gonna add some glue. Just like that, and more glue. So it looks like that. You can trim if you need to. He basically will be sitting like this. We know because his hat kind of sticks up just past this line. So I think that length is fine. So we will add more glue on top of this now, and add some right here in the middle. Just hold them down there for a bit. And there's that. And now we'll do the spears. I like to start with the longer ones first. If you look closely, there is a slight taper. So this is the right side. Let's start with the left. Now these colors have changed over the years. Your shoes are usually set up like that, and the ones that we're going to do now, the bottom ones are both red and the top ones are both the beige. I've seen them where there was a red here and a red here and a beige here and a beige here. And of course, at Christmas time, it's red and green. So I don't think there's a wrong answer here, but the current version that I'm going for, which is just before they updated, when they updated, they actually made these oars instead of spears. But the ones that we're having, they're both red and then beige. So that's what we're gonna do. So just like the orange, we're going to cut this in half, and half, and half. And this time we want it about that long. You can see this side is clean, and this side is where the laser cut. So that's the back. That's where we're going to start. We're just going to add a little glue. To hold on to this. And as we do that, we're going to hold on to it as well. And now there is a way of doing this. Since this is the left, it'll be facing this way. We want this to hang down, but from the back side. So we want to wrap it this way. So we're just going to wrap and turn. And the glue will kind of hold it there for a bit. Then we're going to come back around. Add some glue. Oops, that's the front. You want to add that to the back. Make sure you add it to the back. You don't want the glue to show on the front. And then we will wrap it again. Add a little more glue. The way they do it on the ride, it kind of ties it in a knot. If you wanted to, you could wrap it again maybe, but then it's a little too short. If you wanted to, you could tie a knot here, but I just let them hang. It's fine. So these ones will usually hang off the edge like that, maybe a little more right there. So we're going to glue a little bit on the back. Put it down, make sure we're aligned correctly. So that's there, and now I want to make sure this is attached as well. And since this is, the rope has some space there, you can see it's not exactly flat anymore. It's not against this, so this spot right here is where we can glue. Yep. I'll do one of the gray ones, or beige ones. A little long. That will go under, and it'll lay like so. And this one does lay flat because this is stepped down, as you can see. So we will use this point to glue. So that's the one side. But if you remember, we do have these extra little sticks, and that is to make up the difference for that one. So it kind of makes it the same length, you know. So we'll add a little glue on here. Try to align this. So it looks like that spear is going through the head. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So when we are doing the other side, we would flip it over again. We start on this side, right? And then we would again want it to wrap around this way so that it hangs down. But I tend to do things this way, which means instead of going this way, we will wrap it this way from the bottom. That is the main sign. Like I said, we would glue these on the edges here. But we're putting electronics in this one, so. All right, so we are going to be making the electronic portion. First thing we want to do, and if you have wire cutters, or you can use a knife or whatever, but we just want to show more of the wire here. And then on these ones, obviously you gotta cut more because there's nothing showing. I like to slice these in half, pull them a good amount. Okay, so we twist these up a bit. The first thing we should do, test the batteries. You can see it only works one way. This longer side is negative. So it doesn't really matter how we do it, but we want to pick either the red or the black. I usually have the red with the positive. And we want to test things as we go along, so let's put your two batteries in there, and if you can look in there, Turn that on. We can still test. So the short should be to the red. And there you go. But before we stick these to that, we need to put this over. Make sure you still have the short end. Here's where most people would just solder this on, but I bent them over for a reason. So we can just twist, because I know most people probably don't know how to solder, don't have a soldering gun, or want to take the time to do that. So the easiest way to do this, just twist it around, make sure it's touching, and we'll just use the shrink tube to hold it in place. So just take a lighter, and that should be all you have to do. And we'll do the same for that one. So the shrink tube will also make it so both sides are not touching each other. But we do want to cover this side as well. So we'll come back here on the back side, slip on another one, and make that cover both. And again, we'll shrink. And we still want to come back here, test as we go along, make sure everything we did was fine. Set this aside and let's do this other one. Do that the same way. Okay, so now that we have both parts, we need to connect it to the battery pack. I can start by twisting both of these reds together. And this is actually black. It does have a red line on it, but it's black. That didn't last. You can see the one side's already lit. Again, we want to put one of these on. I'm sticking with the red since it's what we did the other way. So at this time, we want to take our last one, pass it over to this other side. And then we want to twist the reds together, all of them. twist the blacks together. That's hot. And try to slide this over everything. Okay, so we slid it over all that. And then that was the completion of electronics without actually soldering anything. I mean, it's pretty simple as far as electronics go. Save your battery, turn it off for now. The next step is to glue them inside the lanterns. This is now where you see where this comes into play. So we're just going to drop this down in there and just kind of fold this down. So again, we want this to line up with the bottom one. So we're just going to add some glue. And that's one side. Oh, and then we will add this back piece on, which sits on that one and just leans against the side here. Just kind of completes the look of the lantern. You can tell it because it goes opposite side of that. There you go, here's one lantern. Let's do this other side. Alright, so now let's attach these to the sign. Okay, so now, whether you have the electronics or not, the installation is still the same for the lanterns. We will add this one here and this one here. But since we have electronics in this one, we just want to make sure that's kind of tucked in the back for now. And we will glue on these edges. And you can see these two lines here. I usually line this one right in line with that one. And you can either hold it there for a second or use your spray. And that's on there. And now we will do this other side. And now the lanterns are lined because we followed that line. So if you don't have electronics, then that is your last step. Unless you're putting on the eye, which there's a separate instructions for that. But we are putting electronics on, so flip this over to the back. I usually like to place this about right here so you can reach your finger in and get that switch from the back. So that's a good place. You can put it where you want. You have enough wire, but I will glue that down. Well, the next thing is you want to hold the wire so that this is kind of even. We don't want it sticking out more and pushing against the wall. So we'll kind of do that so it's even, and then we will add quite a bit of glue. And that's why I like having the spray here. And that will hold that down. But I also like to add some glue over here. Just because we want to make sure that the wires are not coming loose and not in the way of anything. So this side will do the same thing. Again, we'll add a bit more. I usually leave the wire towards the top of this rather than up here, because right about here is where the magnet this backside magnet for the Jungle Cruise eye. Usually it would layer out right in there. So I tend to leave that space open. Now we just need to secure this leftover wire. First thing, pull that up a bit. That way the wire doesn't hang down. And then, while this may not look the greatest, it's just on the back side, so not that big of a deal. But I will usually do something like this. And that's pretty much not going anywhere. So turn on your lanterns. If you want to trim some of those, you can do whatever. Now, I should have given you one of these stickers. You don't have to put it on, of course, but kind of my calling card. Okay, this is a simple instruction for creating the Jingle Eye add-on. Because I already have one made, and because this is going to another customer to build themselves, I'm not going to show you everything. It's pretty simple. Again, first step would be to take off any masking tape. You can see on here, each one of these little things does have masking tape on them. This backer piece has it on there, and this top piece of the eye has it on there too. Now, you can see we color it red, and we're using this cranberry. This is an artist, actually this is an Art Alternatives. Again, Art Sloth company, you can get the same color. This one I believe came from Joann's, but Artist Loft comes from Michael's. I'll have that information on the help or in the description below. Anyway, same color. What I usually do is peel off around the eye, but leaving the masking tape where the eye is. That way you can color it and not get inside the eye, not go, you know, crossing the lines. So, and then after you color it, just peel everything off. You can see how it's built. We have this back layer. This gets glued on kind of center, just like that, just glued around it. And we have two magnets. There's a thicker one and there's a skinnier one. The skinnier one, which actually has a little adhesive on one side, you can just glue that down in here. Obviously remove this from the adhesive side and glue that adhesive side down. All you have to do is put a little drop of glue in there, and you can see on this one it pretty much is flat in there. It sticks up a tiny bit, but that's fine. This magnet, no matter what side you glue down, it'll connect to the right side. And then you just attach this frame. Again, you just center it. So just use a couple drops of glue around there. So you have the 3 layers and the 2 magnets, and it comes out like that. And now I'll show you how to install that onto the sign itself. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. You just want to lay that down. That made the magnet connect to the back side. Now you can move that around on the back side a little bit. Place the eye exactly where you want it to. So right there. Easiest thing to do, just flip that over. Add some glue around the magnet. Just like that, and we'll spray. And that's, I mean, that's basically it. That magnet's not going anywhere. And, you know, Jungle Cruise eye, usually when they install it, they'll kind of go on an angle. So that's why I put the magnet up top. But there you go. That was pretty simple. course, there's one last step, and that's to seal the paint. But since this is actually alcohol marker, you can't use the regular clear coat. It'll just smear it. This vinyl sealer is actually pretty good for alcohol markers, so that is what I use. All the markers and nifs I have a description for on the website, and down in the description below, if you follow the link. I might even have links where to buy them, but yeah, you can pick this up on Amazon. I'll probably put a couple coats just to make sure. It actually is a matte finish, so it won't come shiny. The other good thing about this is if you had any kind of glue marks, the glue is a little shiny, it'll knock that down, so you won't be able to see it because it'll be all matte. Well, there you have it. You should have a fully built sign at this point. If for any reason you have questions, you have issues, you just need some general help, feel free to reach out. Use the comments below, reach out to me on the website, however you feel. And hopefully you enjoy the process of building the sign, and I look forward to doing more of these. So be sure to like, subscribe, and until next time, thanks.